Everybody, Daniel Rock Zero here, back again on our video. I'm just going to do a little quick review of Survivor Series 2015. Because this show was boring as boring could ever fucking get. This show had really no substance. It wasn't even like candy. It wasn't delicious. It wasn't sweet. It was not savory. There was no substance. There was nothing appetizing about this show. This show was bland as bland can get. Now, heading into the show, even still, you had some of these storylines heading in was just absolutely stupid. You had the biggest buildup was The Undertaker 25th anniversary. But instead of doing a Survivor Series 4-on-4 match, instead we get a normal tag team match. Like, of all the things, that's the best you can come up with for a 25th anniversary of The Undertaker. Just have him and Kane go in and face two random Wyatt family members. And just a run-of-the-mill boring tag team match that you could find on fucking SmackDown. Seriously. That's exactly what that was. So, let's start off. We start off with Roman Reigns versus Alberto Del Rio, and this was fine. It was an okay match. It lasted about 12 minutes or something like that. Whatever. I give it about a 5. It was whatever. Dean Ambrose versus Kevin Owens. Again, nothing special here. Just a very predictable match, same as the first match of the tournament. These two tournament matches, the semifinals, you knew Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns was going to win. Not saying that that's a bad thing, not saying predictability is bad, but sometimes predictability is good. But here, there's just nothing interesting about it. Just nothing interesting. Again, I give this also a 5. And then we have the Survivor Series match, which they didn't even advertise. They just put it on the show because they knew fanboys out there was going to be pissed off they didn't. So they decided, out of the blue, just put in a random 5-on-5 Survivor Series match. So you have Ryback, you have Lucha Dragons, and you have it's just thrown in there. It's just throwing the Usos, okay? And the Usos, they defeated New Day, Sheamus, and Barrett. What I didn't really get was the 3 faces versus the 1 Sheamus heel 3-on-1 thing, handicap at the end. I didn't really get that. Why were they having Sheamus kind of battling and trying to be strong, but then eventually losing? That's not really something you do with a heel. You don't normally have a 3-on-1 heel. You don't normally do, like the ending of a Survivor Series match, do a handicap match with the heel trying to fight back. It just doesn't work. Unless it's the first Survivor Series match of the very first one, which was Honky Tonk Man versus, it came down between Honky Tonk Man, Jake Roberts, Ricky Steamboat, and Macho Man. Now that one, it worked because Honky Tonk Man at the very end got himself counted out. He fought a little bit but got counted out. Maybe they could have did something like that where Sheamus knew he was going to cash in later on, knowing that he still has the briefcase, knowing there's really nothing here for him. He could have just take the count out and left. But anyways, this was just, again, nothing special. Random, nothing special. It was just thrown in there just to give us nostalgia fans something. I don't know. But I give it, again, I give this a 4. It was just really, New Day was awesome, but that's about as far as I'm going to say with that. Next up, we have the Divas Championship match between Charlotte and Paige. And, the controversial thing here was the whole line where Paige said, talking about Reed Flair's death. And honestly, I didn't think it was such a big deal. I mean, yeah, she mentioned Reed Flair's death, and but of course, the internet people have to, you know, really spread bullshit around and make it much more than what it really is. But honestly, I mean, I look at this in two ways. I could look at blame this on the internet fans for making this about Reid Flair and only about that, ignoring the title match entirely. And I can also look at WWE's perspective and say, well, you can also put a lot of blame in them too, because maybe if this build-up wasn't such fucking crap, maybe they didn't need to throw in that, you know, that desperate tragedy mark. Maybe they didn't need to do that if it was such a great feud to begin with. If it was such a great build-up, if this Diva Revolution thing was so big, then they wouldn't need to do that. Tragedy can work in the WWE if done right. Undertaker versus Punk for WrestleMania 29, that was tragedy done right. Eddie Guerrero, that was overkill. But this, it was just about Reid Flair, and even in the match, they didn't even talk about it. They didn't bring it up. They didn't mention it once. So, they mentioned it one time just to see what would happen for no fucking reason at all. So, what about the match? Well, the match itself was just really no point into it. The fans didn't care. I didn't care. People didn't care. Commentators didn't really fucking care, you could tell. Stories didn't care. The writers didn't care. Nobody fucking cares. You know, this Diva Revolution thing, what is it about? It's about nothing, because nobody fucking cares. People want to care about it, but then in the end, they just don't care about it because it has to be about this Reid Flair tragedy. But maybe if the WWE was good at writing shit, maybe if they could build it up and then they wouldn't have to throw in that stupid desperate line, because that's what it felt like. It was a desperate attempt to see what would happen, and they didn't even bring it up again. Anyways, I give this match a 3. No point into it whatsoever. Charlotte wins. Whatever. Tyler Breeze versus Dolph Ziggler in a Raw match. Actually, not even a Raw match. This was a SmackDown, middle of the show, dead air spot match. That's all this was. It was just, I'm glad Breeze won, but I give this match a 3. We get the Brothers of Destruction versus Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper, and honestly, this is all you can come up with. I love the entrance showing, you know, this casket that opens up and it shows the evolution of the Undertaker, and I love that. And that casket, it looked old, and I think it was one of the caskets from 1991. But again, this is all you got for The Undertaker? You just put him in a match against Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper with Kane? All this match really felt like was just one of those old Brothers of Destruction showcase matches. That's all it really was. Like, you bring up an old SmackDown episode with the Brothers of Destruction, like, I don't know, Brothers of Destruction versus MVP and Kennedy. That's what it was. It was just a random match just to showcase the Brothers of Destruction. That's all it was. And Bray Wyatt loses again. Yeah, he didn't eat the pinfall, but still, he loses again. Which, again, I am saying this. They don't have anything special for Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt has this run-of-the-mill thing, this never-ending cycle. First, he shows up randomly and attacks somebody. Then, he talks crap about somebody that he just attacked. And he'll say these, these cynical, these things that Marilyn Manson would say that these, these cult leaders or, these homicidals would say, all these guys would say. And then, they would feud off a bit. And then they'd have a match, and the match is random, the match is bad, and then he loses. And then he disappears for a moment. He disappears a couple of weeks, and then he shows up again, and then the cycle continues on and on. And I hate to say this, but honestly, by the end of 2016, I don't think he's going to be around much longer after that. I'm sorry, all you Bray Wyatt fanboys out there. I just don't see them doing anything any more than what they've been doing for the past 2 years with Bray Wyatt coming into 2016. I'm sorry. I give this match a 4. In the main event, we have Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose in the finals of the tournament championship match. And this match was okay. My biggest problem was, yes, I get it, it was predictable, but, you know, this is what it was all building up to be anyways. You were building up Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose, and what would happen when these two best friends come in and collide? And instead what we get was a 9-minute match that had little to nothing about it whatsoever. Yes, it was about the belt. It was about friendship colliding, but there was nothing more. It was 9 fucking minutes. 9 minutes. That is terrible. That is awful. You don't build up an entire thing like that and have it end in 9 motherfucking minutes. A 5. And then Sheamus, and then there's this big celebration with Roman Reigns. He's the champion, and I'm happy as fuck. And then Sheamus comes in, bro kicks him, he kicks out, and then he bro kicks him again, 1, 2, 3, and it's over. And Roman Reigns' climb to the top is cut off. All because they want to give the belt to someone that just nobody gives a fuck about. Nobody cares about Sheamus. Nobody cared about Seth Rollins in the end. Why don't you just give Roman Reigns the belt and just let him keep it and just let him go for it? Yeah, the timing may be off. Maybe he's not ready, but go for it because people care about Roman Reigns. People are behind Roman Reigns. Believe it or not, people are behind it. And people wanted him to be champion. You might sound, oh, you're delusional. No, it's true. You know, yeah, maybe that crowd wasn't behind it, but that crowd wasn't as bad as Royal Rumble, as WrestleMania. Anyways, this whole show was just a random thrown together Raw with nothing. I am also kind of ticked off that the Brothers of Destruction match did not close the show, because this whole Survivor Series was built up around The Undertaker. So, I don't know. Anyways, overall, I give this show, I don't know, a 4, maybe a 3.5. I give it a 4. This show is just mediocre as mediocre can get. It's a top 10 worst Survivor Series of all time. I'll catch you next time for whatever the fuck I decide to do next. Peace.